Recording. All right. Katrina, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks. Thanks for letting me come in and talk. I had a lot on my mind.
Okay. Okay. Wherever you'd like to begin is great.
Well, I have this project for school where I have to write this like really long paper and then I have to present it in front of the class, which is like making me really nervous.
Hmm.
So I've been having a hard time kind of doing the assignment because of what I know I'm going to have to do at the end.
So you have a big assignment that has a presentation attached to a writing project.
Yeah, and I'm really good at the writing portion of it, but
Okay.
the other big portion of the assignment is to present it, and I'm having a really hard time kind of figuring that part out.
Yeah. Boy, I understand. That can be really rough, especially with how common it is for people to, you know, feel anxious about getting up in front of a group and having to do a presentation.
Yeah. And I know I can do a really good job on the assignment if I could just turn it in what I write, but I feel like having to go present it is going to make me do worse.
Mm.
And I've already kind of struggled in the class a little bit, so it's kind of stressing me out a lot.
So the anxiety comes from the, the struggle that you're already experiencing, and it sounds like there's a disconnect between the writing, which you feel good about, and the presentation.
Yeah. And I'm just worried that this is going to be what kind of fails me in the class. And
Mhm.
I'm just, it's making me kind of not want to do the assignment, but it's the last assignment of the semester. So it's really kind of eating me up inside.
So this is a critical part of the coursework, and it's
Yeah.
hard to. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, it's the like final assignment kind of thing. And I'm just worried that I'm kind of just like debating if I should just stop going to the class altogether because I'm not going to do a good job on this presentation.
Okay. Yes. So there's a kind of a finality to that. If you're considering, I would imagine it's too late to drop out, but I'm hearing you say that you're not even wanting to go to class.
Yeah, I've kind of been avoiding it because we've been doing these like mock presentations in class to prepare for the assignment. But every time it's my turn, I kind of say, "Oh, I'm gonna go run to the bathroom," and or if I know it's my day to do the mock presentation, I just will pretend I'm sick and won't show up to class.
Mm.
So it's kind of been affecting me that way as well.
Yeah. So it's not just this one assignment then.
No, it's kind of been throughout the whole semester. We a lot of it's writing and then presenting what we're writing, kind of like a public speaking course, but it's I've kind of like been scraping by with the written material, but this last assignment is a more focus on the presentation material, and it's kind of getting to a point where I don't really know what to do anymore.
Mm. Yeah, that's really hard. It sounds like you're kind of at the end of your rope with this class.
Yeah, and it's one of the last ones I need to graduate, so I'm kind of nervous as well. It's gonna prolong my graduation.
Mm.
So I want to do it, but I'm having a hard time figuring out why it's hard for me to do the presentation part because I
Okay.
want to, I just can't.
Yeah. So you just said two really important things right there. One is that this is critical for graduation, and that it's hard to figure out kind of what's underneath that resistance to doing the assignment.
Yeah. And because I want to do it and I want to do well, it's just every time I get called on and I go walk up to the front of the class, I feel as though I'm going to throw up or cry or clam up and not be able to say anything.
Mm.
So it's been really hard. So I've just been avoiding it.
Yeah, a lot of physiological response, not just an internal sort of mental emotional resistance, but actually, sweaty palms, I would imagine, and feeling nauseous. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm trying to kind of just exploring all my options of seeing like maybe this is something that I can work through. But at the same time, I feel as though it's become such an issue that I am so good at avoiding it that do I even need to like work through it?
Mhm. Yeah, and that you're saying there are consequences to avoiding it.
Yeah. Because I want to graduate. I've worked really hard and I think I'm ready to like move on into a career, but this is like the last piece that I just can't seem to get myself to step over.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then it's been really I've been putting it off for the last few years, taking the class because I've always had a problem with speaking in public, even if it's like a small, but I just want it. I want to finish. I really do. But I kind of am at the point where I feel like I can't.
Yeah, so it's not just this assignment or, a few other times in this semester when you resisted going up and doing a presentation, but you're saying for years this has gone on.
Yeah, it's kind of like that class where it's on your graduation
Mhm.
requirements and you kind of have to pick when to take it. And I'm just like, I'll put it off one more semester. But now I'm in my last semester and I have to finish it.
Yeah.
And I feel like not finishing it is obviously going to affect me not graduating, but I just don't think I have the skills to be able to finish it.
Mm. Tell me about the resources that you do have to draw on the skills, the strengths that you have that can maybe help you get over this hump.
I have a really good writing background. I'm majoring in literature, so it's really easy for me to like write out things very eloquently. And I'm really good at memorizing as well. And I thought that those two things would help me with the
Mhm.
public speaking part, which is why I'm seeking counseling because um, I think my big issue is the anxiety behind having to public speak because I can set myself up for it, but I'm having a hard time with the response I get from being in front of people. And so I think
Mhm.
talking through that and learning skills like that could help me put all of them together and finish the class.
Sure, sure. Yeah. And the anxiety is really what's troubling you.
I think so. I think for a while I thought it was the public speaking part, and I think that causes my anxiety, which I never really was able to put a word on before.
Okay.
And I think learning how to deal with anxiety in general, I think I can apply that to the public speaking part.
Yeah.
And I think I could finish the class. I just don't know where to start.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for sharing that with me.
Thanks for listening.
And there we go. That was 9 minutes.
Nice. What's up? Um,
Thank you. And that's rough and man, painful to not ask questions.
yeah, I know. And I felt like at some points, me as like the client, I feel like I almost wanted a question,
Yeah.
or I felt like I was thinking more to kind of like, I think in that way it was really helpful that you didn't ask a lot of questions, any questions really. I mean, me as the client kind of have to dive in to figure out what I
Hmm.
wanted to get out more, which was really helpful that you did. And you also were really good at like eye contact. I kind of looked away a lot, but every time I looked back, you were either looking at me or even if you like looked to the side, it was very much like a trying to get your word thing,
Mm.
which was really helpful. And you were very attentive, which was nice and kind of it was very easy to talk. Like I
Good.
felt like even though we're through a screen, you were there and listening
Mm-hmm.
to me and hearing everything I had to say.
Awesome. Cool. That's good. Thank you. Um, was there anything, yeah, like I said, just not asking questions was rough. Um,
Yeah.
oh, I know what I was going to comment on. The in the instructions, it said asking questions puts someone in their head because they have to think of an answer, right? And I felt
Mm-hmm.
like even in my reflections, I was kind of doing that anyway because I was trying to almost like ask a question without asking a question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if I don't. I'd be curious to see what the the notes on this come back as.
Yeah.
Um,
I think, in my opinion, at least how you were responding and your paraphrasing and your responses, it was like a question where it put me in my head, but it was a putting me in my head in my own head, if that made sense.
okay.
Like if you're asking a very specific question, sometimes you feel like you have to give the correct answer. But with the way you were phrasing things, there wasn't a correct answer. It was what my answer was correct,
Mhm.
which was really helpful. Um, and maybe that's the point of it is asking a specific question is going to get a specific answer, but paraphrasing in sense of questions or
Mhm.
like in a way of questioning kind of makes you think for yourself. I don't know if that made sense, but
Okay.
to me, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess just this being that first initial stage of the conversation, of the counseling conversation, for you to feel at ease, I guess that's kind of the big picture goal, I suppose.
Yeah,
Was there
for
anything
sure.
that wasn't particularly helpful?
Um, I'm trying to. There wasn't anything that was unhelpful. I think maybe sometimes I felt like I had to keep talking, which
Hmm.
is the point of counseling. I think just like a personal thing for me is like sometimes I was kind of like stopping, waiting for a response,
Hmm.
didn't get one, so I just kept going, which probably was more helpful for a client situation, anyways.
Hmm.
But I think for the most part, I think I was pretty content with you as a
Okay.
counselor.
Okay.
I think
I
your pauses were good.
I mean that's really interesting because sometimes like when I've met with people and coached or talked with them, sometimes I will intentionally wait. And but I
Mm-hmm.
think within this particular scenario, I was again trying to not ask a question. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so but the pauses, I guess, if they were helpful in getting you to have to go deeper or have to say more, I guess that's a good thing.
yeah. It was like the pause made me feel like I needed to dive deeper to get a response, if that kind of makes sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like what I said made sense, but not enough to warrant a response. So I had to keep going to almost further explain myself, which then made me go deeper into the issue, which is how we got to the issue of anxiety
Yeah.
rather than just speaking in public.
Hmm. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for helping me with that and work through it.
Thank you for helping with my public speaking.
Yeah. Um, okay. Are you good if we shift gears?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we have to? I think we stopped this recording.
Hmm.